really doing this.
Really doing it finally.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. My Siri popped up whenever we started, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, hey Siri.
No, don't do that.
Oh.
Hey Siri.
No, you can't sound
It's
like
all
me.
about the. Oh, do I have to sound like you to do it?
Yeah, you have to sound like me.
I'm good.
Oh, here we go. Give it to us.
All right,
Yeah,
ready?
okay.
Sound like Dallas.
Come on.
All right, you ready? Hey Siri.
Nope, not even close. Nice.
Should I try now?
Yeah.
Hey Siri. I don't know.
How did your voice get higher
there's
to
a
be
disconnect.
me?
Hey Siri. No, there's a
Oh my
disconnect in
gosh,
there.
Dallas.
I don't
Dallas is just emphasis on the Zach. Dallas is just emphasis in Zach. It's just Zach
To me?
having emphasis on his own
know.
voice.
More
It's just
Zach.
more Zach.
More
than
Dallas is
Dallas.
just Zach plus.
More Zach.
No. Okay.
They also call that Muzak. Like the smooth sounds
I don't
of
think
the
I ever-
Worship Cafe.
I don't think I've ever
at
heard that,
Capital
or I didn't
West.
know it.
What,
Muzak?
Muzak?
Muzak. Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like every time you sing.
that was good. Like they used to. They used to
he
flash.
Is a muse
so I
named
think-
Zach.
Tell me if this is not real.
Maybe
Okay.
that's what they
In
knew,
movie
named
theaters,
it after.
I've heard that they used to flash pictures of like soda.
Oh, I think
or,
that's real.
or like candy bars
Yeah.
in frames to like.
Make you want a candy bar.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want
Have
one?
you heard
But
about
they
this,
s-
Joey? This might be before your time.
I've heard
Like-
about this. I assume that this is probably real.
That's
I
wild.
don't. I've never fact checked.
Like, are you saying this is now?
No,
Now
no.
they're doing
Yeah.
this?
No, but they probably could do it even better now.
Oh, for
Where
sure.
we wouldn't even know.
For sure.
Do you think it would work?
Yes, 1,000%.
At one frame.
It-
One frame.
Making you
1,000%.
Making you think about it. Yeah, maybe.
You think it would make you think about it?
Yes.
I think it would make you think about it.
Yeah.
Man.
Their frames are in only
You ever
24.
see
That's
those,
one
like-
out of
They were.
24 chances.
They were.
I always see those like videos and movies and TV shows, like the cliche of like the mentalist, like who's been like suggesting things
Yeah.
this whole time.
Yeah.
And I can't decide whether or not that's true or not.
Yeah,
I
don't know either.
can't. I'm sitting on this fence, and I wish I could know. the
I mean,
truth.
not to say that preaching is like mind games, because it's not.
Yeah.
But
that's a great way to start a sentence.
but at the same time, think about how I preach. Like the first thing I do in every sermon is I
welcome
announce,
the new people.
Well, that too. But then, like once I get into
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay. After the prayer.
yeah, like once I get into the meat, the first thing I do is I acknowledge a universal problem
Mm-hmm.
that gets 90% of the room
Yep.
go, yeah, I have that problem too.
Yeah.
And I would guess,
Yeah, but that's a little more blatant.
but I'm just saying, like that's step number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is the fine line between leading and manipulation.
Yeah.
Can we just, that's a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And like I thought about that one day, like, man, if I plan things accordingly
can
to do certain things.
Yeah, give me a diminished chord.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can manipulate all
Well,
you want.
We definitely, like, if I was playing keys, I would do that.
Yeah.
Like I would try to support the things that you're saying
Yeah,
with a like a specific chord
with a soundtrack.
or a soundtrack. Yeah. So, but I think there's a part of that that's leading. I don't know when it crosses over into manipulation.
Exactly.
Oh
yeah,
my
I
gosh.
agree.
I hate
I
this
agree.
conversation. So
Not that
much.
we're like jaded. I'm just saying that there's.
Why do you hate this conversation?
I just
Why are
said,
you
like,
uncomfortable right now?
because it's true though. Like
If
'cause
you're
it's
uncomfortable
such-
right now, tell us why you're
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
tell
I'd
us.
love to know.
I don't know, but like because I know that like I know people who have had really bad manipulative
Yeah.
experiences at
Me
church,
too.
you know.
That's
And it
why we
doesn't
don't do
matter,
that.
and it's not just the big church either. You
No.
know what I mean? It's the small churches,
look, if you're a
medium
leader-
churches, all of them. Like
if you haven't thought about this at all and you're a leader,
yeah.
then take some time right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
Think,
actually think
am
about it.
am I leading or am I manipulating?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
a good example of where it did cross the line, because I think that it's kind of a choose your own line thing. I just heard a story about somebody who they were like leading worship and they fell to their knees and there was a microphone down there so that they could keep
Yeah.
singing.
Oh!
Ridiculous.
Oh!
That's manipulation.
Ridiculous.
So it's like if you can call it when you see it, then
Or like
start
a-
calling it when you see
Or
it.
like a church that shoots glitter out of their air ducts.
yeah, and
That's
calls
manipulation.
it an angel
They
feathers
call
or
it like the Holy Spirit.
yeah. Yeah, and it's like it's
Or
almost
like in the
doing-
Super Bowl
or
when
if
the
you
glitter
go-
comes out at the right time.
or if you
of
go
the winning
somewhere-
team. How did they know that was going to happen?
Yeah.
Or if you go somewhere and they're like, someone in the room has back pain, and I just want you to know that God's healing you right now.
Yeah, I think.
But no one
But you can't prove it or disprove
can't prove it or disprove it. That's also manipulation.
My back feels a little bit better right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is that when you start, you need to take the careful thought
Yeah.
of like, let me make sure that I'm not doing
Well, I
things
think-
to just purely drive an experience.
I think part of it too is leading from a point of surrender
Yeah.
rather than power, and that's like what we see. Like Jesus was not manipulative.
And leading from a point of service rather than
Mhm.
the attempt to be
Yeah.
served.
and like our this is what we say sometimes, like
Yeah.
what you say and what you do doesn't always like match up, but our intention is that we would create a space that someone could take a next step.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so if I can create, and I called it embarrassingly the Petri dish, like right after COVID. So yeah, so I called
the
it like
Petri dish.
like what people do in a
Oh,
Petri
man.
dish is they put in a specific like compound that
Yeah.
makes bacterial growth.
Agar,
Yeah, that's it.
just nutrients.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the space that someone's like, oh, like I've got these distractions removed now.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, like maybe frequently, I'll just say like, don't think about what you're going to do later today, but think about, and then I'll tell them the thing
Yeah.
that they should be thinking about, and try to
Mhm.
create that space and add the
Yeah.
agar to it, and hope that that's like the space that they can take a next step.
Yeah.
They can do that without that,
Yeah.
but I think if you come to church rather than staying home, I
Yeah.
think there's a better chance that you'll take a next step.
Yeah, and obviously we have values, like we want to produce in quality, like
Yeah.
we want to do that,
Yeah.
and we want to limit distractions, like we
Mhm.
want to do that. Like there are things we want to do,
Yeah.
as we attempt to lead well,
Yeah.
right? But we don't want to emotionally manipulate,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that's the point where like when we give space, it's about creating space. It's not about pushing people necessarily, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not like this. It's more just creating an opportunity
yeah,
rather than manipulating somebody and
Which I think
controlling them.
I think
you know?
CIY is a great thing, and anything that's kind of like that, I shouldn't like
Yeah.
target CIY, but any
Yeah.
event like
Yeah.
this camp, like things like that, you do get like tired out,
Yeah.
but you also become aware of God more at the same
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
And so by there's a certain night where like it seems like a
Call
lot
it
of
cry
decisions-
night.
Wednesday night,
a lot
buddy.
of decisions happen,
Wednesday.
and so I don't know
Junior
that
high
that's
camp,
necessarily
story about
wrong.
your dog dying, lots of
So
tears,
true.
but you can go to heaven and meet my dog.
So if you prepare for that
Dude,
night,
I should write that down for next year.
if you prepare for that night on purpose, like that can be
Yeah.
that's riding that line of good
Yeah.
leading and manipulation.
Yeah.
And so I think we just have to be
Yeah.
aware that that's a potential and
Yeah.
try to stay on the
It's
line
probably
of
why
good
why I
leading.
don't talk at camp a lot, because I just like Sunday night. I'm like, let's get hot and heavy. Like,
Mm.
let's do that now and set the tone,
Yeah,
and then let's just
Yeah.
live there.
yeah. Let's live there all week. That's a
Yeah.
good. That's maybe the solution a
Yeah.
little bit. Is like people
Yeah.
are going to make decisions, but they need to make it in their right mind.
Yeah.
Well,
How about-
that's the truth.
How about we make the decision today, and then we like celebrate that all week long?
All
That'd be
week.
great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I'm on board with that. So
Yep.
So yeah,
I'll write that
I
down.
wouldn't want to like trick someone into a decision and then they go back and go,
Yeah.
that wasn't really what I wanted to do, but it just felt
Yeah.
right in the moment.
Mhm.
And so yeah,
I think sometimes though at camp, like sometimes what happens at camp, I was thinking about this earlier, like maybe yesterday. Kids reach an age where I think that they know they're going to make a decision,
Yeah.
and they save it for camp.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
It's the truth.
Oh, it does.
It does. I've had students tell me that.
Yeah.
Like, they have literally
Like I'm going to do this at NYR, and
Yeah.
so then the invitation comes, and it's like they've already, and that's like the total opposite of this. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
literally.
that's not the emotional manipulation
Yeah.
piece. That's like this is a special place that
Yeah.
I want to do this thing. You know?
I mean, do you think that there is a like it may be a significance within us, but a significance of a specific place,
Yeah.
even
So-
though the church is people. you know?
So for
Yeah.
me, it took 2 trips for me. So I look at the moment in my life when I was saved, like when I like decided, okay, I want to follow Jesus and I want to love him, and all that moment was on a youth works mission trip to West Virginia, and so
Mm.
we did like our leaders washed our feet just like Jesus did, and they prayed over us, and that had never been done for me before, and so like this whole new community like pointing towards God's love. It was like this really cool moment of like, oh, like, okay, God does love me, and he wants a better life for me, and he wants to surround me with a community that's going to support me. Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Right. And so that moment I was like, okay, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then, but I don't even remember them even talking about baptism, or maybe they did, and it just didn't click with me or something.
Yeah.
But later, like I would say about 6 months or so later, on a fall retreat to Tennessee, the speaker actually was like, hey, if you want to get baptized, this is what baptism is if you're saved. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
like I've been following this. I've been making this decision for like 6 months now.
Yeah.
Like this is the
It's
step
time.
I need to take. Like, and for me, like those were 2 moments of like, it felt like heavy influence of the Spirit on my life. And, it was all of the, trip emotions and stuff, but it was like spread out over several trips.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, like I was halfway there on the first one, and then like decided to get baptized on the second one. And I was like, that like to me feels like, okay, like I had that time of like sitting in God's love for a little bit before I even really learned about baptism.
Right.
And
So mine was the opposite. I was baptized when I was 8,
yeah.
and I
was in 8th grade.
honestly, like, I don't even really remember my thought process. Like, I think I knew that I was sinful, and that I needed a savior.
Yeah.
Like, that was like the basis.
Yeah.
And so I remember sitting down with like the lead minister of our church, and just talking through stuff with my dad, and then like that led to baptism. So then when I go to CIY, like it was just like a reaffirmation of that decision.
Yeah.
And so every time that I returned to a camp or to CIY, it was that like feeling on fire feeling, but it was more an affirmation of a decision I'd already made.
I think
cool.
I think what we're saying though is like when done well, these camps and things like this, like they minimize the outside distractions.
Yeah.
They give you an opportunity to focus on what matters. And I think that is what, when done appropriately, when done correctly, like that's what sticks. Like I think about my camp experience. I was baptized at camp, and it was like a year-long conversation to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Like my camp experience, there were at least 7 of us that graduated the same year. We all went to Bible college together. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Like
awesome.
significant. And it just like did that for several years in a row.
Yeah.
Significant pulls into ministry and a lifelong faith, and so there are people I know in town here who I grew up going to camp with, who are involved in churches and doing significant things, and so I think like that, and that place was like the opposite of emotional manipulation. It was like just a place that was super safe for us, that we all loved, that we could just get together and talk about these things that really mattered. And I think when done well, that's what camp can become.
And you don't, like, if you made all the decisions with your heart,
Yeah.
then that would be the manipulative. But if you're doing it with your mind and your heart kind of in sync, then that's where. So if someone is encouraging you to make a decision purely out of emotion, it may not be the right decision. But if you're synchronizing your heart and your mind, I think those are more, maybe more sound decisions. Sometimes we need to say this doesn't make sense, but I'm going to do it anyways because I know it. Yeah. And sometimes we need to say I don't feel like doing this, but I know it, so I need to do it. And so like
sometimes I feel like the thing you could, because I hear that and I'm like, well, how do you know then? And I think really the big thing is time. Like when our prayer at the end of every camp is always, oh man, I pray this decision sticks.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to see. So you came this last weekend. We celebrated Justice's baptism birthday.
Always a fun time.
Yeah. So and so our kids got baptized really young. Obviously, they've been going to church since they were in utero.
Yeah.
And so like they all made the decision super young. And so we kind of expected, like Zach, what you just said. You were like, yeah, I was 8, and I don't really remember why You know what I mean? I'm sure it was this. And we anticipated that for them ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so we, every year on their baptism birthday, we celebrate it like a birthday, not with like a lot of gifts, but like they get a pick
dinner.
Yeah, they get to pick a meal. We have like family over. We have like maybe someone significant spiritually in their life over. And then we invite people to write cards to them to tell them how they have seen them grow in the last year. And then their mom and I have a journal that we write in every year of how we've seen them grow over the last year spiritually. So that whenever they get older and they're like, hey, I think I want to do this again because I don't remember why, we can be like, dude, read this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if you still want to, we'll talk about it.
I think you need to say that more. Because I think that's something that for Christian families,
really cool tradition.
Starting that either, when after they've been baptized already, because that's going to happen to some families, but just people knowing that. Hopefully you're watching now and you're like, oh, I never thought of, celebrating that, but it's something to celebrate.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Which, I don't know the day. It makes me
I don't
jealous.
know the day
I don't know the day.
June sometime.
Mine was on my birthday.
Oh, that's
in 1998. Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
I think Alpha was Christmas Eve.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah. Well,
or could
inside.
be. Yeah.
Cold.
So.
Yeah.
Christmas. Oh, geez.
So, anyways, while we're talking about camp, parents probably feel more comfortable sending their kids to camp if their youth ministers are CPR certified.
That's
certified,
that's
right?
a great, really great segue.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so smooth.
You like that?
So smooth. Yeah.
It wrote itself.
So here's the thing. Okay, it's true, right? In the past couple of weeks. So if you guys don't know, Red Cross and the National CPR Foundation Society, something like that. Heritage?
Secret society?
No, it's not secret.
Oh, public society?
It's very public.
Okay.
But
it's like Fight Club. You just
they
don't
have
talk about
they
it.
have certification courses online, like that you can just take and be certified and know what to do, and
like really easy to get to. Like I don't know if it's easy to do because we haven't done it yet, but
and I will say, like, while I'm not worried about the craziest like scenarios, I do work with teenagers who break legs, and
I was
going to say, in your first year of ministry,
in
usually
my first
something
year of
random
ministry,
happens like that.
So
happened.
And so like there are moments where I'm like, I would like to know what to do, right? And so me and Zach, we're doing this tomorrow morning. We're gonna take one of these online courses and do the certification, because in preparation for our trip this week.
An online course?
Yeah, it's online.
Yep.
I don't know how
online band-aids, online.
What a world we live in. You no longer have to. So our doll was named Annie. You
I don't know.
Give CPR to Annie.
So I don't know how that works.
I don't think it's a CPR class, but
it is.
Okay.
I think.
I mean, some of it's information, but there is a difference where you can connect that with the.
Yeah.
Because I have my CPR certification.
Yeah.
Already, but
you're already
the first aid
cool.
one will be good.
But I think the first aid more than anything is the one that I specifically need. So I'd like that, and then I think it'd be good, but I don't know. We're not doing that.
Yeah, see, if you need first aid or
CPR,
CPR, don't come to me. Like, God equipped me to save souls, not lives. If you wanted me to save lives, I would have gone to medical school. I didn't, so I'll just pass out next to you.
So kind of
and that's all he has to say about that.
I've been backpacking a few times, and those were kind of the moments where I was like, dude, if someone like, you always see like videos of, well, maybe, I don't know, videos of people putting on like a splint or something made out of two sticks, and I'm like,
classic.
Is that's
on the list though? It's like how to make a splint.
Yeah,
all of that.
So some of that there, but I think like just thinking about that, like I'm gonna be out and however many miles walk away from somewhere and need to do something, and so
I mean, we're literally gonna do that when we go to Tennessee. I mean, we'll be in the Smoky Mountains. We're gonna take a couple hiking trips, so I think it'd be good.
And so just being able to deal with a rolled ankle or things like that, just things that aren't life or death, but there could be really inconvenient.
When I was interning, we did a hike on a mountain, and a kid went up the side, like we did a Bible, like a stop, hey, read scripture or whatever, like go find a spot, and a kid went up the side. And then when that was over, he went to come down, and his head got in front of his feet, and he lost control, and we had to take him out, and we almost broke his ankle. We had to like carry him down the mountain.
Wow,
it's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably put the sticks like a cross and you built a little like
I don't
stretcher
know.
for him
We'll learn.
and
No, we did
lashed it
not.
together with.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
just palm branches. And
Yeah, palm branches that you found
Yep.
in Tennessee.
At least that's what I see in the TV shows. But when they're stranded on the deserted island.
Yep.
But so I will say though, one of the questions, because when these trips come up, and especially as we get closer, the questions come, and so one of the questions I get probably more than anything is, are there going to be nurses there, or
Nope.
yes, there are.
I know. I made that
don't
up.
spread false information, Dallas.
That was satire.
That was
But
sarcasm.
not necessarily
Yeah.
on your hiking trip and
Yeah.
Smoky
But
Mountains,
not
you know?
in it. And so, we have been
Yeah.
planning on doing this for a few weeks. And so, if I speak it to parents, then I have to do it too. So,
Yeah.
but there have been a couple parents who are like, okay, that's good.
Well, I
that
feel
you're going to be certified.
so much more comfortable.
you feel,
now.
do you feel more comfortable sending Boaz on our trip now that you know that I'll have a certification and I'll know what to do?
So I was a 23-year-old youth minister. Don't
Yeah.
ask me that question.
Yeah.
He's lived it. So,
Oh, man.
I would say we'll take that tomorrow, and I think the parents would if you were like, hey,
Would you be more comfortable sending your kids
I'll let you know
on
tomorrow.
my trip?
But I would say in general, if you like,
People are going
just
to ask us
understood-
how the class was, or maybe it's just my inner critic the whole time. Just
Oh,
talking
he's
up.
segueing for me. Did you see that?
I think it might be part of your.
I think
It is.
I think
in a real,
here's the thing.
honestly,
I will
yeah.
I will take any chance I get for people to be like, okay, that's good then.
Yeah. It's funny.
For people to be more secure about the things that I'm doing.
Ministry is this game where like you have to look older than you are until you suddenly have to look younger than you are.
Yep.
There's there's just
Yeah.
Dallas, that's so true.
It's the truth,
Yeah.
man. It's
I-
what it is.
I frequently say I would go gray right now. I would do it.
Yeah, it's starting. It's fine.
Yeah, I got a few out of this job.
self-conscious now.
I've been here for it. No, I'm
inner
good. I'm
critic's
waiting
going.
for it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
man, hey.
I'm so close to just dying the whole thing.
Gray?
Yeah.
My dad has had.
That would look so weird.
I think that's the thing that's in sometimes.
That was a trend. Like
Yeah.
when I first
Yeah.
started going gray, it was a trend, and I was like, look at me, I'm a trendsetter.
trendsetter. They saw me and they're like, I want that so bad.
Come
that-
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
My
Yeah.
dad is not.
I'm like all at once.
He's pretty
let's do
gray,
it.
but he's like pushing. He's in
Yeah.
his 60s though.
Yeah.
Do you have any
So-
grays?
I don't.
None.
Lucky.
Do you look at that?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alpha's got like
Yeah.
4,
Nothing
maybe.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have the
So-
like Aaron and I are somewhere in this, like our beards come in orange
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
than red. Like
Yeah.
it's red, but it's really just orange.
Yeah.
And it's strange. We have very similar like top hair color.
My
and-
beard used to be a lot more red than.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But like people will get us mixed up,
I've got some
which we
blonde in
look
my
very
facial
different.
hair.
but they'll get
That's
us
why you
mixed up.
can't see it.
So we were talking about inner critic yesterday.
Yeah.
You should do just for men.
Yeah.
Get the
I've
blonde
thought
ones.
about it. The blonde one?
Get the blonde
Yeah.
ones.
Okay. I've thought about, because let's be honest,
Because,
I have a
yeah,
lot of
okay.
peach fuzz on my face.
Okay.
Anywhere that you don't see regular facial hair, there's peach fuzz there.
Yeah.
I promise.
Yeah.
And
You just
so,
can't
like,
see it.
You just can't see it. And so I thought about taking the just for men, like they got the
Don't-
little combs.
don't
that you can
do it,
just-
man.
Oh,
Don't do it.
I couldn't do it. I would do it and then shave it off. Yeah, instantly.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, then do it. I want to see it.
Yeah, okay.
That's our missions. That's our missions reward.
That's our
Joey
mission,
just uses
yeah.
just for men, and
Yeah, if
Yeah.
we get 20
And
more
shaves it off.
students on our trip by the end of the week, I'll
I like that. I like
shave
that.
my head. I'm serious.
it's
Yeah,
out
we
there
will.
now.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
it'll happen.
There you go.
It'll happen.
Man, we were digressing
Send your
hard.
kids.
I'll dye my beard and I'll shave my head.
There you go.
Oh man.
Man. So that would give you an outer critic, but let's talk about your inner.
Anyways, yeah. The inner critic,
We've segued to
which
inner critic like 4
the
times
whole
now.
one of the big points of the sermon is like if you're like criticizing other people, then you're probably criticizing yourself as well. Like it's
Yes.
probably just an outlash.
Did
and
you
so
say that that
more,
way?
more or less.
I was going to
More
say,
or
or you
less.
at least alluded to it.
That's
heavy.
the way that I
called it a defense mech.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way that I like took it. And so like there was like I had maybe fallen to that a little bit.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Yeah. And so like I have been like it for the past ever since you preached have been like anytime I tell anybody
For the past
something
24
hours 24 hours over the past 24 hours anytime
23
somebody
really.
I have critiqued anybody in any way, I've been like, it's just my inner critic. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That's good.
but we were talking about our inner critics yesterday, and
And how we should increase them.
yeah.
Said to me before service.
So I wanted to like, obviously I wanted the bulk of that sermon to focus on freeing yourself from your own inner critic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I felt like when I was writing it, and I went long, I knew it was going to be a long one yesterday. I just
Yeah.
didn't tell Zach.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I
Yeah.
could have sworn I had my time just
Yeah,
locked
I
in,
just
but
didn't. I didn't tell you. I was
Why
2
are we
pages
going
over.
long
That was
today?
my inner critic happening at the end of the service.
No, it was all me. It was all
When
me.
the-
Snap.
So anyway, I knew it was going to be long. I just, I pretended it wasn't real.
Wow.
Yeah. And so anyway, I wanted to address the inner critic, but when I was writing, I felt like I also had to go to the outer critic for part of it.
Because they're related.
Because
They
they're
have
related.
connections, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say if you know someone who's highly critical towards you, man, get inside their head and listen to what they say to themselves. You know what I mean? Like you should almost feel sorry for them.
Oh man.
And so that's
Yeah.
that's a thing. And so I had to get there yesterday as well. But yeah, we were talking about the inner critic and kind of starting with this conversation that Paul has in Romans, right? Like I don't do the things I want to do. I do the things that I hate. Like I do the things I don't want to
Dude,
do all the time.
so
Like he
true.
just has this moment of like,
And to write
he
it
says,
down.
"What a wretched man I am."
yeah, well, and it's
Who can
like
save this? Yeah.
Paul like writes with a scribe, right? So like someone else is writing what
Yeah, he's
saying.
confessing.
Yeah, someone else is writing what he's saying. And part of me wonders when I read it, if Paul didn't have like this moment of like,
Maybe tears.
yeah,
and-
like getting out of
yeah.
him, like almost forgetting what he's doing and like just spewing this thing.
So you said it differently yesterday. Like
Yeah.
you rephrased it in your
Yeah.
own words. And I was like, man, I get the tension of that, and that was just
Yeah.
as confusing as when Paul's saying it.
Yeah.
Like you said it different, and I was like, that was he
Yeah.
got it because it was the same type
And
of
it
situation.
took me
Yeah.
on chapter 7 took me years
Yeah.
to understand.
Yeah.
It took me years. It took me I think it took me life experience
Yeah.
to really get it, because it is like when you live a life in your, especially like now working at the church, like I get it more than ever.
Yeah.
That emotion and what he's saying behind that.
But he doesn't leave it there.
No, he
like
doesn't.
he points our hope to Jesus,
Mhm.
and and essentially says like he is greater still, and so no matter how great your inner critic feels or seems or looks in the moment, Jesus is greater still. He can take care of this, and so that was kind of the conversation yesterday. But it did take us to the outer critic for 2 minutes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it stood out to me, I think, because
Mm-hmm.
to me, like the way I saw it was, how do you know? 'Cause sometimes you don't even know that your inner critic is getting you.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like I talk to people all the time, and like sometimes there's just so many. To me, like I've learned how to tell when somebody's inner critic, like you can hear it in the words that they say.
Yeah.
I mean, they like I think it shows up in like small value judgments that people say about themselves,
Yeah.
or like whatever it is. And like when you get close to somebody too, like you start to see those things, and I'm like, man, like this is a really big problem. But like that, I felt like, to me, the thing that I took away from those 2 minutes was probably my biggest takeaway, is that like that's maybe a good telltale sign of what your inner process is like,
Mhm.
because it's just the fruit of what's lower down, And so like if you're wondering, okay, do I even have an inner critic? Well, what is your outer critic? What are the things that you say to other people, like,
Mm-hmm.
and that for me was a good tell of like, yeah, like maybe those things come up a lot of times. And so, yeah, I mean, because your heart, this position of your heart sits where it sits, and
Yeah.
so, man, it's hard to correct. But the process that you gave at the end was really good.
Yeah. I hope that people find that helpful. I think I really worked hard to make that be something that was going to be actually
functional.
Yeah.
actually helpful,
Yeah.
versus like past preachery helpful.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Something that's like, I can take this and it's like a screwdriver and I have the
Yeah.
screw that it fits.
I can actually do this now. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know that I connected as much as other sermons, but I think it's because I tend to be less critical.
Yeah.
But I think that's a byproduct of my inner critic.
Yeah.
My inner critic leads me to being less critical, and it's this thing like being the appropriate amount.
Yeah.
And so like all of our personalities go different ways.
Yeah,
And we have
yeah,
different
yeah.
like layouts of things, and we all kind of need to try to be balanced in that.
Yeah.
And maybe some people would disagree with that, but
Yeah.
be balanced in that. And so someone who's not critical enough is like letting things go by, and that's me. Like letting things, like not upholding standards and just letting things go by. So I need to like shift a little bit toward the critic, but it's because I know that I mess up.
Yeah.
That like I know that I make mistakes, so I'm going to give grace to someone else.
Yeah.
And so my inner critic feeds that.
Or
instead of coming from it from you guys' side,
Yeah.
where you're like, man, this is not up to snuff because I know that like my standards aren't met or something.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's the
Yeah.
like thought process. And so we need to hold everybody else to this because everything needs to be high.
Yeah.
And I'm excusing, and so we all need to kind of meet in the middle a little bit. I think that's the appropriate way to take that.
It's the line between excellent and critical. It's the line between self-defaming and critical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where's that line?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that line live? Because I don't like, as much as I want to be careful not to be overly critical, I also don't want to be careless not to be concerned.
Yeah.
or accountable.
That's the Yep. And that's more my
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be so hypercritical that I leave people in the dust and run over them, but I might leave them in a place where they don't even know what to do and have less direction than they need. And so so we're kind of fighting from different sides, and I fight from that other side, which I wasn't like necessarily like left out of the sermon.
No.
Because obviously we still need to be careful of how critical we are in like a mean way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I come at it from the other side, and I don't think I actually put that together till like just now.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, like, I am more critical when I know people more, and I would swing your way for people I don't know as well. That's kind of where I sit, I think.
I'm really critical when my stamp goes on it.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like if I've got skin in the game, I'm very critical. But it's because I hold myself to a very high standard.
Yeah.
So, will you guys just to like interact? Will you guys let us know if you guys are more hypercritical from your inner critic, or if you tend to be more approving and just like
or where does that
off.
show up? Because I imagine most people are probably more critical in one area and the opposite in certain areas. So, yeah. Yeah, like my family, I would say, are like they get the brute force of the inner critic or the outer critic, but like anybody talking to me or like volunteers or whatever are probably the opposite of that direction. But
when I was like a teenager, my family had some turmoil and kind of fell apart in the midst of that, and I think I spent a lot of time having to minimize things, and I think maybe that's
your defense mech.
Yep. And so like I think I spent a lot of time saying, this isn't as bad as it actually is.
Yeah.
And so then like looking at things critically, going like, it's not as bad as it actually is. And to avoid that conflict. So
it's funny though,
hurts to say, but
it's funny though, because we are our quality concern is in totally different areas, because you care a whole lot about the quality of this, and I couldn't care less.
About that
You know what I mean?
Dallas walks in, he goes, "Let's go. This is about quality."
Yeah. But you care a whole lot about the quality of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
my stamp of approval's on it.
Exactly. But I'm like the total opposite. Like this, I couldn't care less about. But man, anything that happens on a Sunday morning, I'm judging the quality of like the smallest detail of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is really, really hugely significant to me.
Well, and also like really the I don't know if we've ever said this from here, but like the really strength of this is that we can do this and we can share thoughts and we can have a conversation and a dialogue, but it doesn't cost us a whole lot, and there are some sacrifices with that. And so I know it's not going to be as well produced, and we kind of just talk about what we're thinking about, and that helps you guys see who we are, and that's our goal. And so I think we meet those goals by not making it so like so thought out. It's more of an afterthought of Sunday morning and opening that box again to discuss. And so I think it's on purpose a little bit, but it doesn't cost us a whole lot. And so that's how we make this possible.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
Cool.
but I love it. It's good.
Well, guys, we probably need to hop off here, go to staff, and
Yeah.
do our thing.
Yep.
And then lunchtime.
Oh yeah, for real.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually.
All right. Well, you guys have a good day. Happy
See you
Monday.
guys.
Bye.